All right, can you sing the 10 for me, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 110.
One more time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 110. And happy belated Independence Day here at the Wrestling Connection, where we bring to you episode 123 of the most must-see show to ever hit the Bedford TV airwaves, or any airwaves, north, south, east, west, frontwards, backwards, in any which direction. The Wrestling Connection. I am your host, as always, the debonair, the divine, the adorable felon himself, Mr. Ken Hill, bringing to you all the news in professional wrestling today. Alongside me, as always, is Mr. Nick, and of course the infamous Mr. Greg Dolan.
Infamous, I'll take it.
I'll take infamous.
That means really famous, right? Like more than famous? You're infamous?
It's infamous is more like negatively famous, like evil. Evilly famous.
Oh. All right, carry on.
Carry on. All right, so like I said, we had a belated 4th of July. We had a 4th of July edition of Raw, and you know just how much WWE loves to handle its holidays with all the decor and upstanding maturity in the world. Of course, when you think WWE and holidays, unfortunately, one thing comes to mind: food fights. And that's
Food fights?
what
Is that real?
It's true. I mean, going all the way back to SmackDown, Thanksgiving tradition was basically just food fights. Basically,
Secretary's Day? Like, how crazy do they get with their holidays on this?
Basically, I mean, what you see is pretty much sums up how every holiday ever celebrated on Raw, SmackDown, or just WWE in general basically goes. Just ends up being like one big insane bash. I mean, like potato salad, hot dogs, mustard, chocolate syrup, cake, everything being thrown. I mean, one of the highlights about this, though, one of the highlights about this, I mean, you look at this, you see Apollo Crews and Cesaro having an arm wrestling contest. They never stopped arm wrestling the entire time.
Who won?
No one did. It was a draw. They just basically just shook hands and left. They were arm wrestling the entire time, even when they had like food pelting. I thought which is hilarious.
That's pretty good.
And then in the next shot, you'll actually see another funny highlight. You'll see Kevin Owens under the table there, avoiding the whole food fight, eating a bag of Lay's. I mean, like I said, I'm not big on this because I mean the whole like food fight in WWE's played out. I mean, Miz even kind of hung a lampshade on this. Just like every time WWE has a holiday, it just breaks down to mass chaos.
I like to loosely narrate what he's saying.
I mean, and well, this one was going to be more for the ladies than anything else. But of course, I mean,
Talking about the fedora again, Ken? Talking about the fedora?
not the fedora.
Okay.
The next shot.
Okay, hold on. This one.
Yeah.
It looks like you wearing the American flag hat.
American flag. I wish I had an American flag fedora. I actually looked all around the Burlington Mall all this week. For the life of me, I could not find one.
Really?
I know that they're like hot sell. I mean, St. Patty's Day fedoras are hot sellers on like in St. Patrick's Day weekend. Yep, Julie, that's for you. Just because I know there's one thing that Julie loves about 4th of July, it's men and whipped cream. God bless America.
Is that caption right? I've been trying to follow along.
That would probably be the most flattering thing you've done for me on the show. But no, that's actually Fandango. And the funny thing is, he and Tyler Breeze, picture to the right, actually started the whole food fight by chucking potato salad at Maurice and dousing Miz in chocolate syrup. So that's something we rarely don't see, is like a heel starting a food fight with another heel, which is I mean, it's just everyone just trying to enjoy themselves, and Miz trying to be the party crasher. As it is, though, it was just I mean, it was a hilarious bit. It happened right before the actual show started. I mean, just considering how much it puts towards America and its troops, it doesn't really. I mean, WWE can afford to be a little ridiculous. I mean, obviously, you see the social outcasts here coming out of some of the founding fathers, the Minutemen, of course the Bedford Minutemen of old. Of course, when you think of the Minutemen in WWE, you really can't go much further than these guys, considering about a minute is all they're good for in a match. But I'm bummed. All right. So, I mean, of course you had the social outcast dressed up as Minutemen, and we're fading away. Oh. Okay. So yeah, we move on from the Minutemen.
Okay. Who we got next? Who are these
Yeah,
guys?
of course, on the 4th of July, what would be more fitting than a United States Championship match?
Fireworks?
Well, yeah, except it would be an indoor arena, and that would set smoke alarms. So, new. They can only do so many fireworks. There was actually a funny story. Like, they actually had, like, pyro for the Boogeyman during a 2006 match with him versus Booker T and his wife Sharmell. And the problem is the pyro was so big and the smoke was so thick, it ended up covering the entire arena because the Chicago arena didn't have a proper ventilation system. So basically, not only was the match itself bad, no one could even see the match to crap on it because the smoke was filling up the entire arena. So it's one thing to have pyro. It's one thing to have, like, that if you actually had actual fireworks, I mean, it would fill, like, the whole arena with smoke.
It's crazy.
I know, it is. But fun fact, though. All right, so anyway, we had Rusev defending the U.S. title against his former rival, Titus O'Neil, who Rusev dispatched with really not much trouble. And I'm not really surprised here. Titus, from the beginning, was not built up as an effective rival, a foil for Rusev. I mean, Titus, was really only in this just because, okay, it was WWE's bad saying, oh, okay, it's our bad. We suspended you for too long. Here's a U.S. title run, but you're not actually going to win the title. So, bully for you, Titus. All right. So, and we ended up finding out this past week on SmackDown that the next challenger for Rusev's U.S. title is going to be, surprisingly, the Long Island IC Zack Ryder. Zack has actually had a very momentous week himself. On Raw, there was the Team USA versus the Team International 12-man elimination tag team match, where surprisingly, Zack not only eliminated the Swiss Superman Cesaro, but also got the winning pinfall for his team, him and Big Show being the last two remaining for the USA, by pinning Sheamus, the Irishman Sheamus, after the Rough Rider. Are there actually periods in there, or do you just do that?
No, is there a picture of Sheamus in there? We can't find it.
Well, no, it's a picture of Big Show and Zack Ryder.
Oh, the Big Show.
I know him. He's the Big Show guy, right?
I would think you would know. I think you would know a picture of yeah, there you go.
Oh, this is picture 12. I got a little confused. We're jumping around a little bit.
See, I even had one with Big Show front and center just for you. Even though Zack Ryder won the match. Anyway, like I said, Zack Ryder actually won the match for Team USA and actually got a big win over Sheamus, pinning him with the El Bro drop. I mean, Zach's been having a hot week. He's got new music out, courtesy of Downstate. Ryder feels like he's got his momentum back. He's challenging Rusev for the U.S. title on Raw next week. And even if Zach's just kind of like an interim challenger, I'm kind of glad. All right. I mean, they're finally capitalizing on the momentum that Ryder had coming out of WrestleMania, winning the Intercontinental title. They see he's more than just a bit player, so it'll be interesting to see what they do here. I'm sure like they're going to keep the belt on Rusev because Rusev's smash, and Rusev's got to remain dominant. But like I said, I think they're actually doing a much better job of building up Ryder in this week alone than they ever did building up Titus as a challenger to Rusev's United States Championship. Now, moving on from there, we've had our share of former SmackDown general managers rearing their ugly heads on Raw, trying to. You got a little something there, Nick. You got a little something
Just
trying to flick
poking
away
you.
there. Anyway.
We can move you closer.
I'm a fan of the Three Stooges. You think I'd see that coming? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah. All right, moving on. All right, like I said, we've had our share of former SmackDown general managers, Teddy Long, People Power, John Laurinaitis, and now when you think SmackDown general manager and ugly heads, you can't get much more of either than not him, Vicky Guerrero. Who is that?
Who is that?
You have to be a little more descriptive of this person because I don't know who you're talking about.
We just put on Jimi Hendrix and thought
You know
it was
who
decent.
That's
sorry,
Jimi Hendrix.
Could you be more descriptive of the person?
Okay, well, it's one of the pictures I sent you.
Yes, there's
It's
12.
A lady with a cougar necklace. Yeah, that would be the one.
Okay, I've never seen this. Is this a new person? I've never seen this person.
Oh, great.
You don't know who Vicky Guerrero is?
Nope.
Really?
I honestly, if she was in here, I would just be like, "Can you help? Can I help you? I don't know."
Well,
who you are."
let's see. Last name Guerrero. So let's see.
This
That's
is
a-
Vladimir Guerrero. He played for the Angels.
So is she related to Eddie
she's
Chavo
his widow.
Chavo Guerrero Sr.?
No, she's Eddie's wife.
Oh, so how long has she been involved in the WWE?
She's been involved with WWE since Eddie passed in 2005.
Really?
That's
I've
it.
never seen a picture of her that you
That's
put
it?
on this show.
You've never seen a picture of Vicky ever.
Nope.
On your
It-
show?
On
on
the
the
show,
sh-
no.
Okay, Greg, come on.
I'm serious.
You've
I'm
never seen a
100%
picture
serious.
of Vicky Guerrero in WWE ever. Ever.
Not that I recall.
Not
No.
that you recall.
No. I had something to swear on right now. I tell
Greg,
you, I
your
had no
memory
idea
is
who you were talking
spotty
about.
at best. You're telling me you've never seen a picture.
I will
of Vicky-
swear on this Progress Software flash drive.
Oh,
that I've
yeah,
never
because
seen
all
her
the
before in my
equipment
life.
here
Progress
is,
Software, the number one
because all the
software company in the
and
world.
equipment here is up to speed, right?
I'm telling you, I've never seen that person. I'll bring her back.
All right.
I apologize.
So, to those who aren't familiar with Vicky Guerrero, she is the widow of the late great Eddie Guerrero, WWE Hall of Famer and former WWE champion. She was given an on-air role in 2006 as the manager of Chavo Guerrero, moving on to manage several other WWE luminaries such as Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler, before moving on to a on-air managerial role as general manager of both Raw and SmackDown. Now, this is a role that she would hold on and off for several years, up until 2014, where she actually took time off to pursue a career as part of a medical degree, which kudos to her. In the meantime, like I said, Vicky was given a lifetime contract with WWE in honor of her late husband, Eddie Guerrero.
I will say Eddie was awesome. I did know Eddie.
Eddie was a fantastic
He was a great
wrestler. Fantastic luchador, ECW, WCW, WWE, Japan, Mexico. He did it all. Part of the immortal Guerrero family. One of the families actually talked about it large on our international special. Anyway, Vicky came back. Vicky came back to throw her proverbial hat into the ring to be the new SmackDown general manager coming, or COO, or whatever the term they're using is, to run SmackDown. Of course, since she wasn't actually in power or doing anything, much like with the other two general managers, she got the boot. And kind of a hilarious segment, I'm sorry I couldn't bring it up here, was where she was being escorted backstage, and of course one of her long-time associates, Dolph Ziggler, she tried to beg to him to tell the security to let her go. Ziggler pretty much pulled the old, I have never seen her in my life before.
You gotta go way over.
So safe to say, I mean, I can understand, like, I mean, it's kind of funny what they're doing here with the former general managers, but we know realistically that none of these three aren't going to be even remotely considered. Okay, it's got to be someone like, it's going to be someone fresh. It's not going to be Stephanie either. It's not going to be Stephanie. It's not going to be Shane. It's not going to be Vicky or Teddy or John. So the big scrutiny here is going to be who's running SmackDown. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Will they go with a former WWE superstar? Will they go over a current WWE superstar like they did with AJ Lee running Raw a couple years ago? It remains to be seen. All right. So another big segment on Raw was, of course, John Cena calling out AJ Styles in the club. Now, I understand where Cena was coming from here, but AJ actually made a good point. Typically, Cena's usually the winner of the war of words with most opponents, but AJ probably made the best point is that Cena's just complaining about sour grapes here, okay? He's complaining about it, fans are complaining about it, supposedly the higher-ups are complaining about it. That's not the picture I was talking about.
Ken, you're a little out of order.
Okay, well, I mean...
This is the next one, 8.
Okay, I'm talking to a guy who usually throws me off with about half a dozen video segments. But, or pictures like that.
Ken Hill.
That's Ken Hill. You're famous.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm going to keep cycling through.
Any particular reason you stopped on that one? See something you like there, Greg?
Is this it?
Okay, yeah, there you go.
That's the last one I looked at.
All right. So anyway, AJ made the best point. Cena's basically just complaining about sour grapes at this point, says that he just needs to let things go, and that pretty much every time that John's going to open his mouth, the club's going to be there to shut it and beat up John Cena. All right, they'll go to dinner, and they'll beat up John Cena. They'll go to sleep and wake up and beat up John Cena. Have breakfast, have breakfast and beat up John Cena. That's basically what AJ's whole consensus was that every time Cena tries to rise up against him, the club's basically just going to beat him down. And AJ also made a good point that John has elevated himself to the point where really no one would realistically come out to help him, because what good would it do to benefit someone like Cena who's already at the top of the mountain that everyone's trying to climb?
No,
I mean, case in point. I mean, so AJ and the club, of course, do what they say they do best. They beat up John Cena. But surprise, surprise, here comes Enzo and Cass to the rescue of everyone. This was an honest surprise. I wasn't expecting this. I was basically expecting a beatdown. I was expecting someone to come to the rescue, but I wasn't expecting Enzo and Cass, which I think is it's a double-edged sword. It's good because, I mean, they're getting some main event exposure by teaming with Cena. On the other hand, though, anyone that usually aligns himself with Cena has the unfortunate side effect of being kind of made to look like fodder, which tends to be a constant problem. Now, of course, I actually think this is a great intermission in the Cena AJ feud, because it turns out we had a match made for WWE Battlegrounds, which will feature the club, AJ, Anderson, and Gallows, versus Cena, Cass, and Enzo. Now, of course, we had a match between Enzo and AJ this past Thursday on SmackDown, which AJ came on top on. Oh, nice little flashback right there. First episode. Man, I was skinny back then. All right. So anyway, all right. So that was basically the entire Raw. That was basically the entirety of Raw. Just celebrating 4th of July, just goofing off, having some fun. I mean, they weren't really concerned about ratings. They knew everyone was going to be off seeing the fireworks. They were just kind of goofing off, taking a night to themselves, kind of just to enjoy themselves. So I don't really blame them. I mean, I know holiday episodes of Raw and SmackDown aren't really meant to be taken seriously. Okay, is there a joke I'm missing here?
Yeah, I accidentally loaded every picture in the entire computer into the program, so I'm trying to find yours.
You're trying to find them, and it's just he clicked the wrong. I don't know what happened.
I think I got it.
You loaded every picture.
There's thousands.
I eliminated it. I think we're back to normal.
Maybe 10,000 pictures.
All right, back to your regular ones.
All right, there we go. We found them.
Thank goodness. Do you have the WWE Draft one? Like the one from last week?
I know. Now I actually got rid of all the old ones. I can bring that one back though. WWE Draft from last week.
Yeah, it's basically just a picture. It has the WWE Draft logo.
All right.
Was that 122 last week?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, so getting into that WWE Draft. So we're continuing the discussion from last week. Greg and I discussed like which championships should go on which brand. Like where should U.S. and Intercontinental titles go? Where should the tag team titles go, or should we have another set of tag team championships made? I discussed with Julie whether we should just have the women's championship defended on both brands, or the women's and have the Divas Championship brought back. Obviously, the World Championship situation, considering that for the last few weeks they've been referring to it as the WWE Championship and not the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which gives the implication that they might be bringing back just the regular World Heavyweight Championship, which I wouldn't be against, but I mean, obviously, I think it would. Yep, there we go. It would open up. I think it would open up more. I mean, continuing off from there, I think it would open up more avenues to have two separate championships. It would create more opportunities for superstars who seemingly don't get like a fair shake in terms of a world champ, like a WWE championship program, like of course, like Cesaro, maybe even like Miz, like Dolph Ziggler, several like the guys who were kind of like stuck in mid-card limbo, as it were. All right, so speaking of superstars, the biggest rumor going around concerning the WWE Draft is WWE bringing back several former WWE superstars to help fill out the ranks, since they are going to be going with a clear 50-50 brand split here, not just bringing up stars from NXT to help fill out the separate rosters, but also bringing back former superstars. Such names have been thrown out as Shelton Benjamin, MVP, John Morrison, and there's a little me hanging right on top of the draft sign.
It's the Fedora Ken.
Sure.
It's a little tiny Ken to go with you.
Uh,
Remember, be yourself.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Gotcha. All right. So
Moving on.
Moving on,
moving
Ken.
on.
All right, let's see if I can.
So
screw with this.
with names, I mean, you have names that obviously like Shelton Benjamin and Morrison and MVP. I mean, reasonably they could still be. Obviously, they would be put in the mid card. They would help to elevate the newer talents, the current crop of talent in WWE on Raw and/or SmackDown. I mean, then you have other names like Stevie Richards being considered brought back, who would probably be more favored in a backstage agent type role, not really an on-air talent. Maybe for a match or two, but not someone I would see coming back as a full-time talent. So going down the list, not just those, but which superstars on the rosters right now? I mean, who could you see being on like what brand? I mean, we discussed last week how Raw is more the showman brand. it's known for highlighting its bigger superstars like John Cena, like Randy Orton, like Roman Reigns. Where SmackDown is more the workhorse. Chris Jericho, exactly, or
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. Well, it's interesting you mention Kevin Owens because I would actually see him belonging more on the workhorse brand, the SmackDown brand.
Do you think SmackDown's like more technical?
Yes, that's actually the point I was getting to. SmackDown is more more workhorse, more more wrestling oriented in general, which is why I could see like
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles,
He's got
Kevin
style,
Owens,
baby.
Sami Zayn, Cesaro.
Big Show.
Yep, definitely Big Show.
I mean, obviously you would need a veteran or two
Taker.
to even
Taker
things
on that
out.
one
So
even.
actually, I would not be against the idea of having like the likes of Big Show
On both shows.
No, on one show. Pick one. Raw or SmackDown.
Smack Raw.
No.
Raw down?
Raw.
I was gonna say
or
Raw down.
SmackDown.
Yes.
We're gonna secede from this and make our own.
Depending on the
Wednesday.
week. Or he could do his own show. It'd be the Big Show with the Big Show. Be a reality show.
Starring the Big Show. With your host, the Big Show.
And his footstool, Greg Dolan. Anyway. Guys, seriously, please. Thank you. All right. So, with seriousness, who could you see?
Ken, I'm dying.
Okay, let's start with the Raw break. Who could you see realistically on the Raw side?
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. Okay.
I like
Chris
Roman
Jericho.
Reigns.
Right.
But you know there's going to be surprises. You always do this,
Seth
which
Rollins,
it's good, but you think through
Rollins,
it
right?
logically, and you forget how illogical the WWE
I
is.
understand how
You know?
logical WWE
They're
is.
gonna screw it up.
They tend to throw some twists in here. But
So
the
who do you
but the-
think doesn't fit on a show will end up on the opposite show?
All right. So if you're going to throw a swerve, you'd say, okay, put John Cena on SmackDown. Okay, because I mean he says the future. He says the future has to go through him. So why not put him on? Why not put him on with the present and future crop of WWE Superstars, which would be on SmackDown? That would seem like a proper twist for WWE. Or they could just do a twist on a twist and just keep Cena on Raw because they've done the twist with Cena being on SmackDown before, and before even the draft was out, Cena ends up getting drafted back to Raw.
I think Styles stays on Raw. I think they try to push him to the main event.
Well, I mean, if they're going to push Styles in the main event, why didn't they just put the title on him? I mean,
Which one's Ambrose going to be on?
that's the $1 million question. I mean, honestly, I could see Ambrose on
The
either
Gene
brand.
Wonder.
I would honestly prefer Ambrose on SmackDown.
So do you already watch SmackDown?
I do.
Okay, so you're going to continue to watch both. Do you think that this will actually grow the audience, or you think this is a mistake?
Well, for one, SmackDown's taped right now. So the fact is, if you have two back-to-back nights of live television, I mean,
So SmackDown will be live
it will be live
starting.
starting a week from next Tuesday, which I believe would be the 19th.
19th.
And how
I was gonna
long
say
of a
20th.
show is SmackDown?
It's 2 hours.
Okay, so you're asking people to watch 5 hours of wrestling back-to-back nights?
Okay, but
I'm just wondering if you think
it's not
that's
like
too
it's going
much.
to be back-to-back shows. It's going to be back-to-back nights.
No, on back-to-back nights.
Yeah,
No, that's what I
not
said.
back-to-back shows.
Yeah, so I said nights. We'll review the tape.
You said nights.
I know, but it's okay. It's not like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to, like waiting the entire day. Why can't I just watch shows back to back like on the same night?
No, I just think that I think they might be asking the fans too much. Casual fans. I know fans like you will watch it. I wonder if they're going to lose some people when they split their talent this much.
Okay, but people, I mean, for one thing, this isn't just about the fans. This is also about WWE. It's about making more. It's about making money. It's about getting better ratings. And the other thing that this cuts majorly down on is obviously the spoilers. Because here's the thing: people see the spoilers for SmackDown from on Tuesday, and they'll honestly be on the fence the entire time, saying, "Oh, do I want to watch SmackDown? Maybe I'll just catch it online. Do I really want to see it, considering I already know what's going to happen?" And yet that cuts down the ratings effectively. I mean, if you put SmackDown live, it cuts out the spoilers. there's just as much anticipation for what's going to happen on SmackDown.
So you could like theoretically Google what happens on SmackDown right now, and the internet will tell you.
Theoretically, but okay, how many times is the internet usually right?
Internet's always right.
Every time.
I read that in the internet.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes,
So
the internet never
every
lies.
so-called spoiler you've ever seen and ever read is true.
All the wrestling ones I've ever read.
Every
have been
wrestling
true.
thread.
Always been true.
Always true.
Yes.
The ones I've read, yes.
Okay, so which ones do you read?
I have not read any.
Yeah. I
Okay,
haven't read
so
any,
how can you
they're
say
always
that?
right.
I just poked a major hole in your so-called logic, buddy.
It does actually. I will give you that, Ken. I will give you that.
That's what I thought. All right, so anyway, okay, came back to this. Like I said, SmackDown going live will make it just as exciting, and people look forward to as much as Raw. Okay, because people have always labeled Raw as the A show, SmackDown as the B show, just because, again, like I said, there have been SmackDown's taped. Things are usually edited in, edited out, and people don't look forward to it as much. I mean, you look at the SmackDown audiences, a lot of those people know it's taped, and while you can see a lot of SmackDown fans sitting on their hands, you hear these crowd noises being piped in. So it's another thing, okay? Live audiences will look forward to this. People who actually go to the SmackDown shows, because they know they won't be edited out. It'll be live just like Raw. So yes, there are obviously some risks with this because it's going to be a live show just like Raw.
No, Vince is a big risk taker, and this is a risk. But obviously, there's a chance of failure. You know, he failed certainly with the XFL. This guy is not infallible by any means. I'm just curious about, if they're asking too much out of people. Time will tell.
Time will tell. All right. So I mean, getting back to the superstars. Now, obviously, you said Roman Reigns. Who else do you think could be would you see being on Raw following the draft? You said Roman Reigns.
Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler. I could see if you're going to have John Cena on SmackDown, I could very well see Randy Orton on Raw.
I'm running out of people I know too.
Because I mean,
what about Rollins?
Rollins. I mean, you want to have your
about Maria, she's on there.
You want to have some of your biggest stars on there. I think you would also want the Divas. I think you would also want the women's champion on there, Charlotte. I think you would want the crux of the women's female superstars on.
What about the New Day?
Raw. Obviously, the New Day is
the villains.
Vaudevillains. I think they're more of a SmackDown thing, Nick.
Yeah, the Vaudevillains seem more like a workhorse.
No, Raw, baby. They rip their opponents raw.
I'd say Vaudevillains for SmackDown.
You're just doing that to disagree with me.
If you keep the if you make the tag team titles universal, that being you can defend them on Raw and SmackDown, I mean, it really doesn't matter which tag teams end up where. I mean, and once again, I mean, they keep throwing this out there that tag teams could be split up, so we don't even know which tag teams will be remaining following the draft, as Greg pointed out last week. I mean, for all we know, we could see a number of tag teams broken up. We could see no tag teams broken up. We could see tag teams drafted as a unit, like the NWO was in the very first draft back in 2001, 2002. So it just remains to be seen what's going to happen.
Question about formatting: who's making the picks and in what order?
That I don't know. I mean, a lot hasn't been thrown out concerning the format. I would assume that basically it's going to go like the original draft did. Basically, that they're just going to go back and forth with their. There's going to be all I know is there's going to be 20 total picks, 10 for Raw and SmackDown. Basically, it's going to be like a coin toss. Whoever wins it will get the pick first. It's basically going to be like a war draft strategy. Essentially, essentially, can you top this? Like, say, okay, Shane starts out and picks Roman Reigns. Then, okay, whoever is running SmackDown's gonna have to fire back with a big shot as well and draft a big name. And like you said, there could be twists and turns throughout here. I mean, we don't know who's gonna be drafted. Like you said, we could see a big name like John Cena going over to SmackDown. It's something that not a lot. It's exciting and something a lot of people can anticipate. I wish. That would be something, wouldn't it? All right. So going from Raw now, jumping over to SmackDown. Now, obviously, we discussed who would be a good fit for SmackDown, like a Cesaro. Who else could you see being on SmackDown?
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. All right. I mean,
How about my Magic 8 Ball? Can they draft that?
no,
No, why not? It's all powerful.
but it's not a
I
WWE
know.
superstar.
I got it. Hold on.
Does it have a contract?
Hold on. This is. Da-da-da-da-da.
Da-da-da.
Yeah, except Zach smashed into a tiny million glassy pieces.
It's been rehabbing, Ken.
Yeah, in the junkyard. Yeah, in the
It has a
junkyard.
colorful personality. I like it. That was our lovely intern who came up with that one.
You got a slow clap. All right.
Bravo.
It's a good slow clap.
All right, moving on. All right.
All right.
like
So who else?
Cesaro, Sami Zayn. I mean, if they really consider bringing back the cruiserweight division, I mean, you could like have the Usos. I mean, if you're gonna like, you can have the returning Neville. You want like excite. You want SmackDown to be an exciting brand on par with Raw. So you want to have equally exciting superstars. Like I said, Neville, Cesaro, the Lucha Dragons, who would fit right in there with the cruiserweight, the new cruiserweight division that WWE seems to be cultivating with their Cruiserweight Classic. So I mean, really, I think like you want to look at the upcoming WWE superstars, and I think they would be better served to be on the SmackDown brand where they could be better, where they could be more elevated.
How about Arnold? Can you pick Arnold for your side?
Jesus, you guys are having a field day with all these old picks, aren't you? Okay.
I'm running out of wrestlers. I know.
Okay, so
So
going.
maybe you can ask me people, and I'll tell you. I'll make my draft predictions.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
All right, so going from the current crop of WWE superstars to the former ones rumored to be brought back. I mean, who would you like to see come back? I mean, that's been a former WWE superstar. I mean, like I said, I mean, the rumored names range from, like I said, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, John Morrison, currently performing as Johnny Mundo over in Lucha Underground, Steven Richards, Rob Van Dam, Rey Mysterio.
Rob Van Dam. I'd like to see him on SmackDown.
I mean, you see a lot of names thrown out there. I mean, RVD usually just comes back for like a one-shot deal. But yeah, I mean, RVD would definitely, I think, would be a good fit on SmackDown. But I mean, again, you have to take health into consideration. You have to take age. I got it. Age into consideration, and really, I mean, at this point, would you really want an aging, walking wounded RVD on SmackDown? Can he really? I mean, he's been, I would say, lagging in the last couple of years since his return in 2013. He really hasn't been the same RVD. I mean, the ring rust is kind of starting to show, is what I'm trying to say. Now, I mean, you have Shelton Benjamin, who, I mean, if you saw him from 2003 to 2007, 2008, was a fantastic athlete. I mean, bar none, one of the greatest amateur type wrestlers I've ever seen. Ultra athletic. I mean, he could spring up to the top rope in a single bound. And this guy could grapple. He could suplex. He could fly. He could do a number of things. A former 3-time Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, Tag Team Champion. I would be all for him, and maybe even his erstwhile tag team partner Charlie Haas coming back into the WWE fold. You have John Morrison, currently known as Johnny Mundo over in Lucha Underground. Again, just like Shelton, ultra athletic, ultra quick, amazing parkour background. Parkour. A little Office reference right there. I mean, of course, again, a former multiple-time tag team champion, intercontinental champion. As long as he doesn't bring Melina back with him, because unfortunately that's kind of where his behavioral issues came up with because of Melina's backstage doings, so to speak. So John, as long as he remains out of trouble, as long as he doesn't drag Melina back with him to WWE, I would be all for having John Morrison back. Now, you talk about something like maybe like a Steven Richards, who again is an ECW luminary. I'm actually a fan of Steven Richards. I like him, but at this point I would see him as a little more than just being a road agent, a backstage agent. I wouldn't see him as being a like full-time returning superstar. Then you have someone like Rey Mysterio, who has seemingly revitalized
Rey Mysterio is
himself.
someone I'd like to see out there, you know?
Has seemingly revitalized himself in Lucha Underground. And I'd be all for having Rey back. But again, just like with RVD, you have to take injuries into concern. Rey's gone through so many leg surgeries throughout the years that I basically lost count, just like everyone else has lost count at this point. So would I want Rey back? Yes. Would WWE want Rey back? I'm not so sure.
Because of performance, or because you think they're afraid of him getting injured?
I think it's just because Rey is older at this point. Okay, again, I think they're just more prone to injury. I mean, Rey, like I said, unfortunately, before his time in Lucha Underground, he was spending most of his time on the disabled list in WWE. I mean, it seemed like he'd be all back for a couple of weeks, and then he'll be right back on there with a patella tear or a meniscus tear or something or other. His legs are pretty much bionic at this point because he's had so many darn surgeries on them. So someone like Rey, who I think we like to have back, so maybe like for like a Hall of Fame induction of sorts, but no. I mean, then you have like the biggest name amongst them all.
Big Show?
Not Big Show's already in the WWE. I'm talking a former WWE superstar, one of the best. He's won every major championship in WWE, a former 1996 Olympic gold medalist.
Ooh, Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle. Now, would we like to see Kurt Angle back in WWE? I would. Maybe in a managerial role, managing the NXT, the Tag Team American Alpha with Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. I would love to see it. I mean, there have been already numerous comparisons made between Gable and Jordan and Angle, and I would love to see Angle come back. Would I like to see him come back for a few matches? Oh, heck yeah, I'd love to. Everyone loves seeing Angle wrestle. I love seeing Angle wrestle. But realistically, would WWE have him back? The thing is, people seem to forget is 2006, Angle did not leave WWE on the best of notions. WWE wanted to take him to take time off due to injury and drug-related issues. Angle refused. They let him go, and next thing you know, Angle's popping up on Impact Wrestling, then known as TNA. So Angle, I mean, while he has talked several times of wanting to return to WWE, claims that he's been in talks with WWE. WWE has reported that they have had no discussions with Angle, and it's clear that they're hesitant to bring him back for those exact reasons that they talked about in 06, simply because while Angle has cleaned himself up for the better part of the last couple of years, he would still be considered a risk just because, like I said,
that's a huge risk
of age and injuries. All right, so we come to the end of episode 123 today. Make sure to stay tuned into next week, where we will continue our discussion of WWE Draft and the potential fallout stemming from it. Of course, we are approaching WWE Battleground 2 weeks from this Sunday. In the meantime, make sure to check out our website, thewrestlingconnection.com. We can catch all the latest updates with our blogs, behind-the-scenes pictures, videos, everything you'd ever want to know about the Wrestling Connection. Of course, you can check out all of our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter handle @WConnection. You can email all your thoughts and wishes and ideas, predictions, and thoughts about the WWE Draft to wrestlingconnection@gmail.com. All right, so stay tuned for next week for episode 124. where we, like I said, we will be continuing our discussion about the WWE Draft, and of course, we are the approaching pay-per-view WWE Battleground. But in the meantime, folks, for Mr. Greg Dolan, for Mr. Nick, and our
Hello.
intern, I bid you adieu, and remember, as always, to be connected, get connected, stay connected.
I've heard it too many
Times to
ignore it. It's
Some things that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it.
the
Wrestling connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me.